And how would you differentiate your school from regular schools? You know, you're dealing with differently abled children, and now there are the regular schools. What is the difference?
The difference is, first of all, the staff. You have to look for staff who are well trained for this kind of learners. Someone who has passion, yeah? Because if you just get any teacher, then you'll realize they don't have that passion, the empathy, the patience with the children. Because in as much, you know, something people do not understand is that a differently abled child and a regular child are all children.
True.
They need patience, and they need love.
True.
So you must have both, yeah, in order to be able to contain them within a setting. Yeah. So that is the key thing for me.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Millionaire Mind. My name is Turife. Now, education is the backbone of society, and when it comes to business, it is important to have an educational background. Helping us with that conversation today, we have Christine Teule. Thank you so much for coming. First of all, introduce yourself. For those of us who have not done homework on you, please introduce yourself and what you do.
My name is Christine Jai Lawor. I am a teacher by profession, and I am the proprietor of Teule Schools.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So now tell us about Teule Schools. It's plural, yeah?
Yeah, it's called Teule Schools, but we have one branch for now. Looking into making more branches.
Yes.
Yes, we live in hope.
Yes, manifesting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So Teule School began in the year 2017 as an inclusive kind of school. This being that I have been a teacher for more than 15 years, handling maths, English and science.
Okay.
For me, those are quite key in knowing about a child.
True.
So during my sessions, I realized that there was some need. I would teach maths, I would teach English. Then I would realize there are students who perform really well during the oral classes. But when it comes to assessments or exams, then you realize there's a problem. Yeah. So that really disturbed my mind, and I kept querying myself. Now, that is one. The other thing is I had a niece whom by then I did not know so much about special needs. Now we call them differently abled.
True.
But I noticed this child had a problem. She was more than 8 years and could not talk.
Non-verbal.
Non-verbal. And had issues with walking, the muscle tone and everything. She was in the village. I decided to take this child because I felt I could do better. So I attached this girl to a school. So this particular school, I kept going to find out what exactly do they do. They had a special unit.
Yeah.
What exactly do they do to these children? How would they improve? What do they do for speech and the likes? There was a bit of a disappointment, but there was a slight improvement in the child. So within me, I felt that was a gap.
You could do better.
I could do better. So I decided to take myself back to school and did my master's on special needs. So special needs and learning difficulties.
Yeah.
So from there, I got more insight. So after that, then Teule School was birthed.
Okay, and what does Teule mean?
Teule means the chosen one, or someone who is set apart.
Yeah.
So the moment you call yourself chosen, it means you're a special person.
True.
So as for me, everyone is special in his or her own way. Yeah. So that's how come Teule.
Exactly.
Yes.
Awesome. And as much as that is a very noble cause and a noble, path to take, at the same time, this is a show that focuses on business. So what is the business aspect of running such a school?
One thing is that it is not easy. It is quite involving in comparison to the regular school. Why? Because in a regular school, you'll employ one teacher per class, say for 25 children. But in an inclusive school like Teule School, then you're forced to employ based on a need. You can find a class with 25 students, but you have 3 members of staff in that class. So it depends on the need that is there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how did you start off? You had already gotten the educational background and were able to do these things. So now starting the school from scratch and having these people bring their children to you and say, you know what, my child is like this. My child needs extra care and extra attention. But here you are alone. So now how were you able to expand from being a one-man team? How exactly did you start?
I began from my house with 3 students, one of them being my own. So one thing is marketing. Yeah, marketing myself was based on talking to people. I live in an estate. So whenever I saw a child with a need, I would go and inquire, ask, what have you done? Do you know what is going on? Why is it this way? Because again, you will realize people are in denial.
True.
So you have to really know how far you go with certain issues. So basically people knew I was a teacher. And so when I marketed myself in our estate wall and to my friends, then people were able now to pick it up from there. So one by one started coming because I had 1, 2, the 3rd one came, the 4th one came.
Yeah.
Then I received one child who was differently abled, and that was the boom. So they started coming because of the services that I gave.
Yeah.
So employment began by 1, 2, 3, 4 teachers like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now how do you transition from your house to now having a whole school?
Back then, the estate where I live, they do not allow for me having a school rather.
Yes.
Yeah. So they approached me and told me, Christine, you cannot have a school in the estate. And I prayed to God. And within no time, I think in less than a week, I was called by someone in a nearby estate. And I was told there's a nice house. This is now someone's unit. There's a nice house that you can do something about. So I went, checked, and there I was. I liked the place. So I started small from there. Yeah.
Okay. And how would you differentiate your school from regular schools? You know, you're dealing with differently abled children, and now there are the regular schools. What is the difference?
The difference is, first of all, the staff. You have to look for staff who are well trained for this kind of learners. Someone who has passion, yeah. Because if you just get any teacher, then you'll realize they don't have that passion, the empathy, the patience with the children. Because in as much, you know, something people do not understand is that a differently abled child and a regular child are all children.
True.
They need patience, and they need love.
True.
So you must have both, yeah, in order to be able to contain them within a setting. Yeah. So that is the key thing for me.
Okay. And what would you say are the requirements for starting a school, like Teule School?
They are vast, but the requirements are that you have to be at par with the Ministry of Education. There are those certificates they have to issue for you to be allowed to practice. You need trained staff. You need money.
Exactly.
Yeah, the key thing. Then you need infrastructure, because in my school we have ramps. You cannot just put a step to go into a class. Yeah. Why? Because we have children who have cerebral palsy, and their muscle tone is not up to place. Yeah. Yes. We have children who are autistic, and you know sometimes they can be all over the place and miss that step. So there's that bit of it. You must have a therapy room. You must have therapists on board. You must have helpers. A helper is different from a normal teacher. Yeah. A helper will help, like you may have a child who is over 10-year-olds, and this child is still probably is not able to toilet train. Yeah. So taking that child through that toilet training, there has to be an extra person to assist that child.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they are quite a lot.
So, what did it take for you to now transition into having this school? All the things needed now, the special ramps, the therapy room, the everything. Was there the need to go to a financial institution and say, listen, I have this, I would like some assistance? Or did you now double back to savings? And which of the two, if you do not mind sharing, which of the two would you say is, you know, would be most recommended?
All that you've said are recommended. But what I did is that I started small. So as I grew, I pumped in a little bit of money of my savings. A little bit. I haven't taken a loan yet, but where I'm going right now, yes, it has to.
Okay.
For that kind of growth. But so long as you are at a safe space, you have your savings, you have the bank who also help a lot. Yeah. You're good to go.
Okay. And now you have a school, the Teule School. What would you say is the mission of the school, or the purpose of the school, or the core values that you have in the school?
Teule School, we say we are unified in diversity. And unified, for me, the reason why I chose this as my motto is that as we come together, we have a common goal. We are so different. Yeah, you are a musician, you can sing. I can dance. I may not be able to talk, but I can do something else. Yeah, I may not be able to sit for a while, but there's something I can do for you to be able to sit for a while. So that's the diversity. There are those who are maybe not Kenyans, you know, stuff like that. So that is basically the diversity. And out of that diversity, then our mission is to transform these children, to be able to be meaningful people in this kind of society at the end of the day. If you have, as a parent, you have a child who is regular, a normal child, quote unquote, and we have this other child whom we call differently abled, an example being an autistic child. So you have these two children in your house. Are you going to say, well, I'll lock you in this room because you cannot settle? Yeah, you are hyperactive, you're different. And I will allow this one to progress. And thrive. Yeah, and thrive. So we want all these children to come together, be able to be brought up in the same manner, in as much as they are different. You understand that this one goes this way, this one we handle this way, and they are all children.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you did mention something about how sometimes people are in denial, and parents are in denial. They'll just say, he's just a weird child. He just does that sometimes. And perhaps there are a lot of cases of autism that go unaddressed because people just don't want, if I ignore it long enough, it'll go away. So if you spot such a case, how are you able to bring up this conversation, all while, you know, understanding that, you know, this parent has probably seen that this child is a little bit different, but does not want to address it? So now how do you have those conversations with parents?
I'm telling you, it's not easy. It is not easy because you have to start from very far. Yeah. Yeah, you start from history, you know, you bring it up. Oh, why is he or she not able to talk? You know, is there a problem? Has the doctor said anything? Have you seen a specialist? Then that you can give your input. But it is not in my place to come and tell you that your child is autistic. Until you have seen something, then I will now be able to say, okay, this and this and this, from these things, that characteristics that I see, then probably your child has cerebral palsy, yeah, or your child has Down syndrome. So take this route, go for assessment, or come for assessment. But it is better for them to go and try see a doctor first before they come to see me. Yeah. You had asked about the values. Now, value one is cooperation. The other one is compassion. There's also patience in here. There's empathy. There's quite a lot of values that impacting these children.
Okay.
Yes.
And at Teule School, do you work with the grade system, or how exactly are you able to categorize what level each student is at? Is it like in a regular school where there's grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or do you categorize them differently?
Since it's an inclusive school, we work with the chronological age, yeah, vis-a-vis the ability. Okay, that is what informs our placement. So a child can be placed in grade 1 because we put them with other kids in specific classes. So a child can be put in grade 1 and be probably by the age, yeah, and sometimes can be by the ability.
True.
Yeah, so that will inform why we put the child there. And then again, it depends on what that class is doing that will help this child grow. Okay, for example, if you give me an 4-year-old, that child will go to PP1. Why? Because that is the age bracket for that child, and that child will be able to socialize themselves with the others very easily. There's a lot of singing, there's a lot of manipulative activities, there's a lot of talking, there's just activity. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, there are classes of assessment for these special needs children or differently abled children. Like we have foundation. That is the beginning, where a child is taught basics. How to take this from here and put it here. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And these children, when you're training them, it's just like training that baby in your own house. But you have to be very consistent. They have foundation and they have intermediate. Yeah. So when you finish the foundation, where we have the pre-literacy skills, pre-numeracy, the simple, very simple things. Now, then when they go to the intermediate level, where they are also assessed by the NEC, yeah, they are able to do even at a different level. Yeah. Like down here, they are doing pre-numeracy. There, they will do the numeracy now. Okay. So you see that growth. Yeah. There's an assessment, and we have to do it and send to the Ministry of Education.
Okay. So what I'm getting is you have both the regular pupils and the differently abled pupils at your school.
Yes, that's why we call it an inclusive school.
Yes, inclusivity comes in there.
Yes.
Now coming back to the teachers now, apart from just having the regular or the minimum qualifications of being a teacher now, what more do your teachers at your school require for them to be able to reach every student?
Like I said, you must have empathy. You must feel at that child, at that level. A teacher must be patient. Why? Because a child is a child. Be it regular, be it differently abled. They are all children. So usually at Teule, in a class we must have 2 teachers. One who is special needs trained and one who is a regular teacher. Yeah. They work together. Yeah. So that when this regular teacher is handling the regular students, then on the same thematic kind of teaching, the special needs teacher has also a program for these other learners. Yeah. Okay. So everyone moves together. These ones will learn maybe addition in this like a learning area, addition. But these other ones, you will now do probably value, number values. I give you 1, you count. I give you 2. You see, learning is going on, and everyone is participating under the same umbrella. Yes. Okay.
And as much as we are talking about inclusivity, are there cases where you feel like some students, the differently abled students, might interfere with the regular students in the process of learning, because there are cases of meltdowns, sometimes it's involuntary tics, or something that could happen and interrupt the flow for other students. So if such a scenario happens, how do you address it?
Now, first of all, during assessment of the child, assessment is not one day. Assessment is probably between 2 and 1 month. So we are able to tell how does this child behave in this kind of setting, yeah? Because during the meltdown, we can already see there's a problem.
Yeah.
So our normal routine requires that on a daily basis, the therapists are on board, yeah, for cool down activities, okay? So like in the morning when we come in, they have to be taken out to calm down and given activities like motor skills, you know, name them, then they're able to be taken back to class. But if there's a continuation of that kind of meltdown, then the child is withdrawn from class to the therapy room, where we also have a dark room after they have assessed. A dark room will help a child to calm down. Yeah.
And sensory overload.
Yes, sensory overload. So there are a lot of things that can be done. Maybe this child just needs a hug because they're also very manipulative. Maybe this child needs TV, but they're not able to say. So within this given time, you're able to know. And even you can call a parent and ask, okay, how did the child sleep? What did you have for breakfast? Because food is also key. Yeah. What could be the problem? Is mom, is dad in? You know, such kind of instances. So we will compare all that and see, is there a need to have this child in class today or not?
Yeah.
If it is not, then we'll have the child with the therapists and try back to class and out of class. So this would go on until the child is able to calm down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the main goal of, you know, a school basically is to bring out different things about a child and different talents and different skills. So now when you're able to identify a talent in a specific child, how do you address that? You know, at the same time, you want them to be focused with school and everything, but you've also seen, there's a specific talent or skill or something different about this child. How do you address such a scenario?
I will still emphasize this. Differently abled children and the regular children, they are all children. They have talents, they have abilities. And in one way or the other, they will show it.
True.
Okay? So I notice a child is able to play football, for example. First of all, I would take it up. Look for that resource. I mean, look for the ball. Give the child. Okay? I'll give you an example. I have a child who is in PP2. And he used to see the other children do taekwondo. Yeah? And he got himself there somehow. And we said, why not? We gave the parent a call. And she was like, oh, go on.
Yes.
So we took this child for competition. He emerged #1. Yeah? And this boy he is autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah? And so there's that bit of, you have seen a child has potential.
Yeah.
Take it up with the parent. If there can be extra coaching, yeah, for me is to provide the resources and the trainers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that constant follow-up on a weekly basis, and the child thrives.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what you've told us so far, it does sound very interesting and at the same time very tasking. So if you do not mind, could you take us through a day in your life from, you know, especially at the school?
My life as a teacher or my life as
like a day in your life, as in from morning once you get to school and how you interact with the children and everything.
Oh, children gladden my heart. That is one thing. And their uniqueness is just out of this world, because there's that child, you get into the office, they will always come into your office. Even if they have no speech, there's just something they will do.
Yeah.
They will come see you, touch something, and go out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my normal days, when I get in, I would go around the classes. And my only problem with this is because I love children. And the moment I get into class to say hi, I have disrupted that lesson. So just peep peep, peep in all the classes and go away. But during break time, I get time to engage with them. I play with the children, and they know me. Some do not know my name, but they would come and tap me, and someone to sit on you, someone to everything. Yeah, but it's usually interesting because I have time with them for lunch. I'm able to tell who can take what quantities. Yeah, even it is just an all interactive day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And surprisingly, even when they have issues, I am able to tell by the way they behave. I can tell this child is not feeling well. Can you check? Can you take them to the therapy room? Yeah. So there's that closeness.
You mentioned when you can see if a child is having an issue, having a difficulty. In most scenarios, we've seen where children carry baggage from home. Something happened at home, and now they're acting out at school, or something very traumatic has happened, and the child becomes very withdrawn, and you don't know how to bring it out of them and how to address that issue. So now, in such scenarios, how do you deal with such a child?
Maybe this is me. Personally, I have never had issues with getting to know what really is going on, because for a child, you're able to tell there's a miss somewhere. Yeah, and if that child is verbal, there's a way you embrace a child. Talk to that child. There's a time that a child was complaining that the other one touched them inappropriately. Yeah. So we had a talk, a nice talk. At the end of the day, it changed that it was not this other child they were talking about, it was at home. Okay? But because of fear that was at home, so the child had to relate it to someone who is in school. Yeah. This is by being so close. First of all, you give a child a hug, say positives about the child, then slowly by slowly you throw one question and wait to hear. Give them things to manipulate, especially the very young children. Yeah. They would be able to tell you. Okay. Yeah, they are so innocent. Yeah.
And what methods do you use to maintain discipline? Because at the end of the day, it's really something that has to be maintained and has to be practiced. Especially with regular children, we have heard stories about teachers who took it too far in the name of disciplining. But now with people who are gifted specially, differently, how are you able to maintain discipline?
For all these children, firmness is key. Consistency is key. There's this other one that consequences, what do you say?
Actions have consequences.
Actions have consequences. You have to be reprimanded in one way or the other. It doesn't mean that I'll do the corporal kind of punishment. No. I will withdraw what you love doing. And it's very painful, even if it's for 1 minute. True. Yeah. When you're supposed to be playing with your toy, I'll tell you, no, you'll not have your toy. Why? Because you did 1, 2, 3. You haven't finished your work. Yeah. So you got to finish your work. That consistency, for me, is key. And continuous talking. You know, a child just needs that love and talking. You behave like a child yourself, and the children will get it. Yeah. True. When you say, Miss Christine is not happy because you're making too much noise, they will say, Miss Christine does not love noise. So, shh, can you keep quiet? Exactly. Yeah. We are making Miss Christine sad. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it's how you relate with a child. But them. Firmness, you have to be very firm. Because like the differently able children, they are manipulative. They are very intelligent. And the moment they look at you and see some gap, that is what they will use against you. Yeah. So you just speak it from the word go. Okay. And that has helped us. What would you say is the challenges you have faced so far, and how have you been able to overcome them? Money, money, money. Money. Money, money. Yeah. That is one. I try my best to source from have charmers, I have banks that can give me an overdraft. Yeah, I try. Then the other challenge is staff. Sometimes you finish one time and realize, oh, Christine left.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have to deal with that, replace. Of course, interviews,
Yeah.
and you know they are time consuming.
True.
That's one challenge. The other challenge is that acceptance of the differently abled parents that their children have needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also another challenge. Because a parent will bring a child and they are saying,
Fix them.
yeah, fix, or my child is normal. Just do your part. She will talk. Okay? And you're already seeing there's a problem. This child should be, it needs speech therapy. Okay? But they are still in denial. So that's another challenge.
Yeah.
So taking them through that, what we do is sometimes we call a parent.
Yeah.
Just talk about the child. Just come over, let's talk about this child. They
Yeah.
cry, they throw tantrums, you know, name it. But at the end of the day, we have
Address the issue.
something conclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has, sometimes a parent comes really high there, up there. You see, like, I know. It is a challenge, it is difficult. I have to remain down here.
Exactly.
Call my multidisciplinary team that involves about 4 or 5 people. We sit with this parent
Yeah.
and see how well to help.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. And what would you say is most fulfilling about what you do?
Have you seen a child who is non-verbal? Non-verbal. After a year, becomes verbal.
Yeah.
Do you know how that fulfills that? Let me just
It's
laugh.
the best feeling ever.
Oh, I thank my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That growth in a child is fulfilling to me. The fact that I am able to bring all these diverse children together is fulfilling. I'll give you an example of a child in grade 1 last year. This was told to me by a parent. They had gone somewhere for like the weekend where they take their children to have fun. Where they were, there was a child who was autistic. Then probably there was a meltdown in this child. So the other children started running away. My child, I will call him my child, because of the exposure that we have given this child.
And how they integrate with the other children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know this boy went to this child and held his hand, gave him a hug, and the boy calmed down. Everyone else was shocked. Yeah, what's wrong with this child? Yeah, that was something to me.
Exactly.
The other thing that fulfills me is that my children are so integrated, such that they appear paired. Yeah, we have taught them responsibility so that you take a regular child and a differently able child, you pair them. So these children listen to their peers. They are told, say hi to Miss Christine. Even if they don't look at me, they will say, hi, Miss Christine. Something has happened.
Yes.
People are going outside to play. This child will always be around this specific one. And they could also react if you withdraw this child from them, because they get so close.
Yeah.
I had an instance of a child who, he didn't know, but he was reacting. Anytime he saw this girl that was withdrawn from him, he would go and slap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes hurt, you know, but without them knowing. Then we realized even this girl wanted to be paired with this boy. And the moment they were paired, they clicked. The boy stopped.
Yeah.
So basically they talk. So that one, that's a plus for me.
Okay.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we never have enough time.
Don't say I have
on
not
this
finished.
we have not finished. We can never exhaust this topic.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody who's now watching you right now, and they probably have a differently abled child and probably are in denial or do not know how to go about it and don't know who to approach, and maybe they're intimidated or overwhelmed, because when you think my child is different, it means I have to get money. It will be an expensive experience to be able to help my child. So what would you tell them?
First of all, I would say, listen to your conscience, number one. The moment something tells you there is something wrong with my child, seek help. On the other hand, Teule School is here.
Yes.
An inclusive kind of school. A serene school that caters for all children's needs. It is quite child-friendly. Come, let us have a talk. Talk about history. Talk about your worries. We have all the time to listen and advise where appropriate.
Yeah.
We have our therapists on board. We have special needs teachers on board who can also give assistance where necessary. Yes.
Okay, and where should people find you? Are you on social media? Basically, where can they find Teule School?
Teule School is in Athi River, Gimo Estate to be specific. We are on social media, and we have a website as well. So you're free to check us out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for having this conversation with us. As always, if you'd like to chime in into the conversation, the number is 0770-729-366. Abri TV KE on Facebook and Abri TV Kenya on Instagram and Twitter. My name is Turife, and until next week, goodbye.
Goodbye.